Hey guys, my name is Rob Trent. I'm a DP and director based out of LA, and I've been shooting with the Atomos Shinobi 7 for about a month now. I think I'm ready to tell you what I think about it. My initial thoughts. It's a great monitor. I really don't have that many complaints about it, and the ones that I do are really just nitpicking. It filled a spot in the market that didn't have a ton of quality offerings. It's way brighter than its competition, and it seems to be pretty future-proofed. So let's break it down, see what the pros and cons are. Number one, brightness. This thing is 2200 nits. That's pretty insane. Daylight viewable is 1000 nits. I don't super agree with that. I've shot with 1000 nit monitors in broad daylight. They're pretty hard to see. 2200 nits on the other hand, really, really good. So let's break down some of the competition that this thing has. So let's draw a few comparisons for this monitor. I'm gonna compare things that are only monitors, and that's all they do. No recorders, no teardecks, nothing, just monitors. The first one I'm gonna compare this to is the Small HD Indy 7. So the Indy 7 is $1,000, $300 more than this, 7 inches, obviously same size, and 1200 nits darker. It's coming with a peak brightness of 1000 nits, where this is 2200 nits peak brightness. Number two, the Small HD Cine 7. So Cine 7 is obviously, once again, a 7-inch monitor. It's coming in at 1800 nits, which is closer to the 22, not quite there, but you know, that's bright enough. But the thing is, it's $1,900. You could buy 2 of these monitors and have a few $100 left over to do whatever you want with. It's pretty insane. To show you how far this thing is batting out of its league, we have to look even further in the Small HD range up to the 703 Ultra Bright. The 703 Ultra Bright comes in at 7 inches, 2200 nits, so this is the same. It's also $3,000. So you've quadrupled the price of this monitor. You're getting the same peak brightness and the same size. Now I will say, when you're that far out of this thing's league, you're getting additional features, you know, more professional features that you might want, but it's also 4 times the price. So this thing is batting way out of its league. Size. So as I've said, this is a 7-inch monitor. Now, for those of you who have shot with 5-inch monitors, they're great, especially if you're coming from a little tiny monitor like all of our cameras have on them. When you jump up to a 7, it feels completely different. Makes it way easier to see your focus. In my opinion, I get better composition when I'm seeing it on a bigger screen, and it looks more professional, which does really matter. Battery life. Because this thing is only a monitor, the battery life for it being so bright is not too bad. I typically get 3 to 4 hours of usage. Now, this isn't continuous usage, just rolling with it at 2200 nits. But when I set the camera down, I'll turn off the monitor. It only takes a second to boot back up, and it saves you a lot of battery. So with 2 small NPFs, I'm getting 3 to 4 hours depending on my use case. My last pro is that it's pretty future-proof. So it has HDMI and SDI, and it cross converts between the two without any latency, which is really nice to have on a monitor that only costs $700. So whether you're running a camera that only has HDMI, like the C70, or a camera that only has SDI, like the C500 Mark II, you can run either way and run either way out. Whatever you want to do, this will do it. This camera also has camera control for Z-Cam users. So for all 3 people out there that are using Z-Cams, I'm sure you will be super stoked to have control on your monitor. The last future-proofing thing that I'm not completely sure how it's going to work out is the RJ45 port on the back. So a big part of their marketing was, oh, it's so future-proof, you know, because it has it on RJ45 port. I don't know what that's going to be used for. Honestly, I don't know what it's already being used for. So take it with a grain of salt. It's probably marketing, but it does seem like something that could be useful in the future. Cons. My first con is the build quality. It's still a Shinobi. I compared it to the Small HD monitors earlier, which I will say have a better build quality than this monitor. And I think that's fair. It's a $700 monitor. It's got a great screen on it, so they had to cut costs somewhere, and I think that they did in the build of it. So that might be one of the hidden costs of this monitors, is that you're gonna wanna buy a cage. In my opinion, you're gonna wanna buy a cage for any monitor to have additional mounting options, but maybe for this one, a little extra. My second con, the menus aren't great. This is the thing with all Atomos monitors. I feel like the menus aren't great. They're a little bit confusing. You have to tap through certain things to get to certain menu options. Maybe it's just my few months experience with Atomos monitors, but in my opinion, it's not great. Color calibration. So this has been a problem with Atomos monitors for a long time. Everything from the Ninja to the Shinobi 5 to the Sumo 19, I've seen just terrible color calibration. Thankfully mine is not like that. It's pretty decent, at least like, very usable. I've seen Ninja 5s, I've used Ninja 5s that are like way too warm. You can't even really get a gauge on your white balance with the monitor. I'm really surprised that Atomos isn't pre-calibrating them from the factory or doing a better, kind of QC on them. So you're gonna either have to buy the $150 color calibrator, or what I do is rent one off ShareGrid for $15 a day and calibrate everything you have. The last one, I'm not sure this is really a con. It's kind of a nitpick, and I don't think it really matters, but it does have 12 stops of dynamic range. So it is an HDR monitor, or high dynamic range, but when you're shooting with a camera that has around 16 stops of dynamic range, it can be a little weird to see your highlights clipped on the monitor and look at the monitor on the camera and just see that they're, a little bit on the hot side, but they're not really near clipping. So you are losing that in the monitor, but I think you should have your waveform up or know when you're gonna clip your highlights. It's not that big of a deal. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, learned a little bit about the Shinobi 7, and hope it aided your buying decision. I know there's a lot out there, but yeah, ask me any questions you have in the comments, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Peace.